Now I want to bring in a 2024 Republican presidential candidate, Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek, you just heard a big donor for Tim Scott now moving his chips over to Nikki Haley now that Tim Scott has dropped out. What do you make of it?
What I make of it is the donor class moves like gusts when they wave in the wind between one puppet to another. Fact of the matter is every politician does dance to the tune of their biggest donor. In my case, that biggest donor is me, and I think that that's what our base is hungry for. Somebody who is actually a patriot, able to speak the truth. There's a reason why many of the policies I've advanced in this campaign, our grassroots base stands for it. Other candidates aren't able to embrace it. And so I'm an unapologetic leader coming from the outside. I think that's what our base is hungry for, and that's what I'm going to deliver them, and I expect I'll be the nominee.
Vivek, we just referenced with the last guest, the first debate, which I think clearly you were supernova. You stood out. The next day, all anyone talked about was your candidacy. And then it was pretty clear that those in the establishment went after you. And it feels like, I don't know what's happened, but, listen, the last time out, you were just as strong as the first time out. But do you feel like you've lost some traction somehow?
Well, I think that, look, it's very clear that the establishment had an anaphylactic response to me. I'm a guy who the other no-name candidates found their way out of the race early. They think a guy like me, 38 years old, businessman, coming from the outside, has no place this deep in the race. And so they came. I was actually flattered, Charles. They sent out multiple mailers across the country in people's mailboxes spewing falsehoods about me. Now, those negative ads, they do that. It works. That's why they do it. They do it for a reason. Politics is broken. But I'm not going anywhere. To the contrary, I think people now have an opportunity to really keep an open mind and see it's going to take somebody from the next generation to reach the new generation of Americans. National pride is badly missing, especially amongst young Americans. We're bringing young Americans into this process in droves, like the Republican Party never has in its history. So I'm fully confident we're going to be successful, especially in those early states, Iowa and New Hampshire, able to beat expectations. We're sitting exactly where I want to be, and I'm confident that we have the momentum ahead of us to be the nominee and, more importantly, to win this election in a landslide.
So Nikki Haley picks up another major establishment donor. You and her have gone at it, no gloves, no rules. Where's this animosity? Where does this animosity between you two come from?
Well, you'd have to ask her for the animosity. She's the one that's been coming for me the entire race. But I think there's a fundamental ideological divide. She represents an older generation of Republicans. She talks a lot about we need a new generation of leadership. I agree with her. It's just that she's on the wrong side of that generational divide, taking us back to the Dick Cheney era, pointless wars that wasted $7 trillion of national debt that we accumulated, thousands of America's sons and daughters of lives sacrificed, people my age. That's a mistake. And I think that anybody who has made money off those wars, people who have been part of the establishment, joining military contractors, monetizing their time in government, I don't care if that's the Biden corruption family or if it's a Republican version of that, which is what I see in Nikki Haley, it's wrong. And so I'm calling that out. The establishment doesn't appreciate that very much. But I think we deserve somebody who is not just a puppet of the special interests, but somebody who's independent, coming in from the outside, speaking the truth in an unvarnished way, and answering what it means to be an American for the next generation. And I'm the one to do that.
Vivek, there's always these sort of elaborate systems on how to decide on who's going to make the debate stage. How confident are you feeling that you'll be in this fourth debate?
We've already qualified, and I will be there, and I will be similarly unrestrained as I was in the last debate as well. That's what our base is hungry for. They want the truth. They don't want professional politicians with talking points. So, yes, I've qualified. I'll be there, and I don't think that we're going to disappoint people by hiding behind some shell. I'm going to be pretty open, and that's what people are hungry for.
So you've mentioned Iowa and New Hampshire. There have been some scuttlebutt about maybe just going for broke in those two. Maybe even shutting down your Ohio office. I think I read that or saw that somewhere. Is this what you're going to aim for? Is it sort of I wouldn't say make or break, but for lack of a better term, something similar to that?
I think that we have low expectations going into Iowa and New Hampshire based on the fact that other candidates have spent tons of money there. Their super PACs have, and we haven't yet. That's changing now. I've made significant added personal investments. That's going to continue through. I'm actually basically living out of Iowa and partially out of New Hampshire as well for the next 2 months, reaching the grassroots where they are. In person is so much better, Charles. These even TV screens, as good as they may be, don't really let people get to know the person. So I'm showing up in person more than any other candidate, and I think we will shatter expectations in both states, and that'll give me the momentum we need to go all the way. And keep in mind, people didn't know who I was 6 months ago in this country.
Right.
Now I'm one of the, 4 candidates left standing. We're going to see this all the way through, and especially by bringing, the other thing, Charles, is people who have never participated in the Iowa caucus. Those are the people we're actually attracting, young people. So I think the polls understate it. We're going to deliver a big surprise, and I think it's going to be great for the campaign.
You know, over the weekend, Moody's fired a shot across the bow of Washington, D.C. Again, our credit rating is in jeopardy. And it really centers on is mindless spending, just like the bond yields and the bond auctions. And while some of that stuff makes people's eyes glaze over, record high interest rates on credit cards and automobiles don't. Delinquencies rocketing higher don't make people's eyes glaze over. Are you doing, is your party doing an effective enough job? It's one thing to say Bidenomics. I kind of get frustrated when I hear one of you guys say Bidenomics as if that explains what's happening. Are you trying to connect the dots on what free money has done to this country?
I am. Yes, absolutely, Charles. And I'm a CEO. I come from outside of this broken world of politics. Forget the slogans. Prices are going up, interest rates and mortgages are going up, but wages have remained flat. That's why people are upset and feeling the pain. Now, how do we do this? Increase the supply of everything. Increase the supply of energy. Deregulate the sector so we can drill and frack. Increase the supply of housing. Forget the land use restrictions. That brings the cost of housing down. That grows the economy. Increase the supply of labor. Stop paying people more money to stay at home instead of to go to work. And then I've been a CEO. I can tell you, zero-based budgeting is the way to go. Don't use last year's budget as the baseline, that broken budget from last year, and then try to tweak it. Start with zero as the baseline and ask what's actually necessary. Nobody in either party is doing it. No single state in the country does it. It's going to take a businessman coming in from the outside. Charles, I know you understand economics. I don't think many Republicans and certainly most Democrats do. That's what it's going to take is basic change,
right.
Zero-based budgeting, fix the budgeting process, increase the supply of everything, and we have this solved.
To be quite honest with you, I don't think they care about economics. I think they try their best to put their policies or their ideology in the veneer of economics to sell it. Before I let you go, you've referenced young people several times. It is amazing what we're seeing in polling data. A lot of young folks, black, Hispanics, loving Trump, much to the chagrin of mainstream media. What do you think, when it's all said and done, whether you're elected or not, your particular legacy will have on this party? Because I think you've made some major inroads.
Thank you. I think we're going to bring the next generation in. Many people, I go to college campuses more than any other candidate probably in the history of the Republican Party, Charles. People think that they're progressives and they hate this country and they disagree with what you and I might say. Wrong. They are lost. They are hungry for purpose and meaning. And what the conservative movement has failed to do is give them a sense of direction. They don't just want to hear about bashing Biden or bashing the other side.
Right.
They want to hear an affirmative vision of our own. This is what it means to be an American. So for a long time, we've been running from something. Now is our moment to start running to something. And if we do that, we bring young people along in droves, and I think we're going to do it this election cycle.
I got to tell you right now, their arms are wide open. They want, to your point, they want solutions, not whining and not finger pointing. Yes. Vivek, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.